Yo, 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 we back. Another episode. I want to give a shout out and say thank you to all the loyal listeners out there. Likes, subscribe to Everything Red Close podcast. But today, I bring a special guest. I know normally it's somebody in sports, a ex player, retired player, current player, but today I just had to do something different. Try to go to know the man behind the scenes who make sure all the graphics that you guys see and see on Instagram and Facebook and all over the place, shine some light and going into his world today. I'm gonna give a shout out to my man Cody Tallent. Thanks for joining us, Cody.
Yeah, of course. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
I got, I want to tap in a little bit. We're gonna get into it. About your background. I want to say in graphic design. You know how things are going. I'm gonna tap into a few things. But let's start off with how did you get into graphic design? What
Yeah,
made you
so
want to do that?
so kind of an untraditional path. I got a bachelor's degree in business management, which does help me now. But
Mm,
I got a digital marketing internship my senior year of college, and
mm-hmm.
we had to talk. I was all over social media. That's pretty much what digital marketing is now. That's such a huge factor in it. But I didn't like the analytics of it, which I had to track,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to make a social media plan,
Mm-hmm.
which was cool and everything because it's very important.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like the numbers as much. Uh, One thing I did like, I got introduced to. We had to create posts to
Yeah.
increase engagement for events, whatever it may be, and that was the thing I liked out of the entire internship. I was like, this is what I enjoy, and that's kind of the initial foot in the door where I was like, okay, I like this space. How can I kind of do it essentially? And I just started watching tons of YouTube videos, and that was essentially how I got started. And then once I got decent enough, I had a few internships after that, but pretty much pretty much self-taught, other than help from a few others. Very untraditional, but you don't need a degree in graphic design to be a graphic designer. But I would say it would help. It would have definitely sped up the process for me. But yeah, mainly just through just one internship, and then kind of thinking it was what I wanted to do. And once I got into the space, I was like, I like being able to create something from scratch.
Oh, so you're a product of YouTube University, I like to call it. So that's dope though. It's a lot of, like you said, a lot of stuff is
Yeah,
self-taught. YouTube University. Um,
yeah.
well, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the amount of people on there that you can learn from who are true professionals as well. They offer up their knowledge for free just because they like giving people the power to create, for especially for the graphic design world. You have people that are just amazing what they do, and they show you how they do it, which is fantastic because you're putting on some other people that may want to do this profession. Even if it's not graphic design, you have people that do like photo manipulation and color grading and photo editing and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a wonderful place to learn.
So what made you get into graphic design and get into the basketball space?
So I've always been into sports. So all of my internships I've done operations, I've done digital marketing, I've done graphic design, all in sports. I've always known that I've wanted to work in sports. I was a college athlete, I was a high school athlete, and I played sports my entire youth. So sports have always been at the epicenter of who I am, and everything that comes with it as well. Your camaraderie, your teamwork, dedication, discipline. But for sports specifically, I just knew that that was something I wanted to do. I was like, I want to be in the sports scene, no matter what it is. Um, so my first time getting into it, I started Fiverr when I started freelancing, and I was offering to make sports posters for people for I think like $5 to start with,
Shout out to
just to get
Fiverr.
my
I
name
used that
out
a few
there.
times. I used Fiverr a few
Yeah,
times myself. Yes. Shout out to
it's
Fiverr.
a good place. Yeah, I know it's a bit like, oh, Fiverr, it must be cheap or whatever, but you can charge whatever you want. Um, but yeah, that's a great space, and that's how I got started in freelance because I didn't know what I was doing. I just heard of it from a YouTuber, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. I have nothing to lose. It costs nothing to create an account and put your name out there and gain some traction. And yeah, I some dude hit me up and said, I need this, and I was like, yeah, I can help you out, and created one. And I was like, I like the process of it, and yeah, that's kind of just how the sports thing worked. I initially started working for, you know, whoever afterwards, but yeah, I always knew sports was there, and I like being able to create, so I just kind of mixed the two together, and that's essentially how it is. I know it's a very simple answer, but yeah.
Well, I want to take it back because I didn't know, sports was like, I had a feeling sports was in your background, but you like touched on it briefly. Like, what's high school you went to? What college did you go to? And what sports did you actually play?
Yeah, so I grew up in North Carolina in a small town called Vale, which is
Okay.
next to a. I lived next to a cow farm. So I played baseball all the way up into middle school. Then I got into football, and I played football up until ninth grade. I'm a Panthers fan, unfortunately. Oh
Oh, that
gosh, don't
sucks.
even get me
I feel sorry
don't
for
even get
you.
me
Oh, I
started.
feel sorry for you. Hey, shout out to
Don't
my
even get me
Eagles,
started.
Super Bowl champs. You know how we do. Go ahead, though. Oh, go ahead. Anything.
Yeah, for we won a couple games this year, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, a lot of losses too. But yeah, I played baseball for a while, like I think 7, 8 years, something like that. And then I got into football, and then I started doing track in middle school. Wasn't very good. I was horrible actually. And then I played football my freshman year of high school, and then I really got into running. I was like, I really like this, and I showed massive improvements my freshman year. I was like, okay, I'll switch over. Very untraditional path to running, like long distance running. I went from football and baseball to cross country running, and I was like, okay, I like both, but I had to give one up. So I had to,
Yeah, you wild. You wild for that.
yeah, and
I ran cross country twice. That was it. They got 2 meets out of me. That was it. And I had to do it for
yeah.
basketball. That's when I did it. I had to do it for basketball. That's over with.
Well, high school has the shortest races. Once you get higher up, it's a little bit different. But yeah, I did cross country, and I did well enough to get scouted by a few places, and then I chose a smaller place in New Hampshire. So my family moved from North Carolina to Vermont, which is a massive change, by the way. And so the first winter, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "There's like 4 foot of snow," and I was like, "This is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why people
Mm-hmm.
like this."
You had little
I was like,
sprinkles and
"Man,
going in. You had little sprinkles of snow, and now you're done with foots of snow. That's
yeah, yeah."
wow.
I never owned a pair of snow boots. I didn't have to, and now you got to strap up like you're going to war in the morning to shovel the driveway, and you're like, "Man, this is a mess. Like, I don't know why people do
No,
this. It's miserable."
no.
And what was I talking about? Yeah, so I did well enough in high school running, and I chose a small school in New Hampshire, which state over, and I ran there for 4 years, and yeah, and I still run to this day as well. I took about 2 years off recently, and now I'm getting back into competitive running. So soon I got a half marathon to run. So
Okay, so you part of like a club. You part of a club where you do it like individually by yourself.
right now I'm training individually, but I'm joining a club soon.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
because I'm over in the UK right now, which has a great running scene. If you don't know,
Okay.
they're
Okay.
fantastic.
Love. So like I say, I met you running across a friend of mine. He actually told me about you. My friend named Christian.
Oh yeah,
I seen this. Yeah, I seen like this crazy photo. Like I probably looked at it probably like 10 times. And at first I thought he did it. I'm thinking like he made the photo. And he like,
yeah,
nah, my boy Cody did it. I tell him, hit him up. I inbox him, let him know that I sent you there. So I know like me and you've been working together ever since, getting things together right on my end. But it was just like I was like in awe of it. It was like it really caught my eye and awe, and it was like the attention to detail. Like your attention to detail to me was somebody that knew something about sports, like knew how the viewers wanted to see a photo to
yeah,
make it pop out and look realistic. So that's what like drew me to you, and wanted to work with you and continue to collab with you going forward for sure too. So
yeah.
I definitely love you. I definitely like your work, and now I know as I post it, I see other people that see me tag you in come get work from you now as well. So I like how that
Yeah.
the energy keeps reciprocating.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. If I can make someone look good and help myself a bit too, then
that's a
a
bet.
symbiotic relationship. Everyone benefits.
Yeah. So what's your process when you going through when you design? I'm just because my sport is basketball, so I'm gonna continue to talk about basketball. So
Yeah.
what's your process when you sit down? Someone say, for instance, they want something or you're making a flyer. What's your process through for a basketball flyer?
Okay, so the big thing is what pictures they're able to supply. So that'll decide like the composition, like the setup of the graphic. So if I have an action shot, then I know that I want to have a basketball court or something like that, or I'll put it's something different in the foreground. But mainly, people either have limited photos or they don't have any action shots. So I'm limited by that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is color. I always decide a bit on color. Once I have the composition set down, I kind of draw out what I want the actual graphic to look like and the colors I want to implement. So a lot of them are team colors. So if they're signing to a new team or something like that, that gives me an idea of, oh, okay, I already have a color palette, easy, boom, done. It just streamlines that, and I don't have to focus on it too much.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't, and they want kind of just a random color palette, that's fine too for me. But the scene is really just like what do I want people to feel from this graphic? Do I want to use red and make it kind of like angry, kind of like I'm him type of graphic, or blue
Mm-hmm.
like you want this person to seem like they have a cold vibe and something like that. But color composition are extremely important, and then other elements I want to implement. So team logos, city, if they're from like a specific location, like elements from that. So if they're from Florida, palm trees or the beach would be amazing to implement. So where they're from or where they're playing are really important. That's kind of it. I know that's very basic, but yeah, the big things are your photos, your your color, your composition, and also typography has a big importance when it comes to graphics. You want to So graphic design is different from like artistic work. So there's a communication aspect. Like I can
Mm-hmm.
make something artsy where it may not be readable or legible. So it's like if someone has trouble reading something for an event, they're like, "Man, I'm done with this. I'm not going to even read it." Like if you see a movie poster and you can't read the title, it's like that defeats the purpose of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So for me, I have to make sure information has a place and it's readable, legible, and it's not going to be frustrating looking for this information. You don't want to have to break a cipher to learn where this person's playing at or whatever. So those are the big ones. Making sure it's easy to look at, it's appealing visually with colors and composition and lighting and stuff like that. And then yeah, typography as well. Making sure it's all slightly balanced. Not to
Mm-hmm.
say you can't go outside the fundamentals of graphic design, but you want to make sure that it's easy for people to digest and it's fun.
No, for sure. Well, that's kind of like I'm in school now, so my major is communications and new media. So what I do now is part of my major, and also it showed me how to shoot videos, edit videos, but it also tapped in a little bit of the graphic design, which I
Mm-hmm.
knew that wasn't my strength at all. I can get into everything else, but the patience of making sure something is cut the proper way and doing things the proper way to make it pop out more. Yeah, that wasn't I knew that wasn't for me. I knew I was gonna need a whole lot of help there. Um, but I see like, in your flyers and things you're making, you're big now. It's like a new wave going on in the one-on-one world. How did you get involved in the making flyers and get into that world with the one-on-one players?
So I really started getting submerged in the street ball world with I want to say the first big person I worked with was June's League out in Delaware. I
Shout out to Jim's
don't
League.
remember.
I've been there a few times. Shout out to the
Yeah,
guys.
we started working together, and that kind of pushed me off. And yeah, obviously, all the players that play on June League, some of them are massive, and that was kind of how I got started with that, and they kind of just grew from there. So
Mhm.
I really appreciate him helping me out, and yeah, he's brought in numerous clients to me, and yeah, expanded my name a bit. So very thankful for him.
And you saying you overseas right now?
Yeah, I'm over in the UK in Wales.
So how did that connection happen from you being overseas to the connections that you made all the way over here in the States?
So the internet's a
Like how did
beautiful place.
wonderful,
Social
yes.
media is beautiful, of course. And for me, I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to be in person to grow a connection with someone. It's not like I'm manufacturing a physical product. So for me, it's as long as we can communicate online, I can work from the middle of a desert as long as I have internet connection. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I can kind of build a connection with anyone in the world. I have clients that are in the UK. I have clients all over the US, from the East Coast to the West Coast to the the Midwest, whatever it may be. So I can kind of work from anywhere. So
It's crazy. It's ironic that you said that you over there. The whole time I'm thinking you over here in the States because you respond like I could text you at 12 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever time is. You always responding. So I'm thinking like, okay, he local. I guess he's busy. He's working. So that's crazy. I never knew you was in the UK though. This whole time. That's crazy.
yeah,
I learned something new today, folks.
yeah, I don't always hit everyone back in a timely manner because I'm all over the place. Like I'm doing so many things with like training and then all the clients and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
if someone thinks I'm ignoring them, I'm not. I'm just busy. I'm
No.
not doing so many things. But yeah, I try to get back to people as quickly as I can. And obviously the time difference. I don't want to get a phone call when it's 4 a.m. When it's my time. I'm like I'm in bed. I'm legally dead to some. But yeah, I try to get back to people as quickly as I can when I'm free.
Now, out of all the projects you have done, and I know it's hard to probably pick one. And when I make this edit, I'll put the pictures up and stuff to show the people what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Give me like 3 of your favorite projects you have done.
3. I did a recent one for Street Stars. Shout out Street Stars. I did one for Uncle Scoob's Tokyo tour. That if you haven't checked out those videos, go check them out. That one I would. It's tough to put rank everything.
No, you don't got to rank it. You don't got to rank it. You don't have to rank it though.
Oh, gotcha. Random.
No order. No order.
Gotcha. I would say that one, the Tokyo. That one came out fantastic.
Mm.
I recently did one for also Street Stars, and I don't want to seem biased, but Street Stars. I did one for Zay recently as well. They just signed him to their team, which is fantastic. He's been doing crazy things on the 1v1 circuit. I just did that one, and that one came out beautiful. I wish I could say that. I have an unreleased one that's coming out on Saturday. I don't know, when are you looking to post this?
You got another week, so I'll add it to
okay, I got one.
I'll add it to it.
I got one coming out Saturday. I went crazy with. Shout out my boy Nolan in Arizona. I help him with the Florence High School, and one of the players is about to hit 1,000 points on Saturday. I did a graphic for him. It's getting released, and yeah, I think that one is. If I had to rank, that'd be number 1. I think that I popped off on that one. But those are my 3 that I can think of. I've probably done a bit more, but yeah, because I got probably thousands of projects out there, but that's what I can think of at the moment.
Okay. How do you stay up to date on the design trends in the basketball world?
I follow a ton of people, like a lot of artists. A lot of them are different as well. So I don't just follow graphic designers. I follow illustrators. I follow motion guys. But yeah, I kind of just look at them, honestly. So, and also teams as well. So I not only follow the designer, I also follow the team, so I can see the kind of their direction. A really good place to look as well, that you can see if something's popular or not, is Pinterest. I know a lot of people do that for like home decoration stuff, but there are a lot of designers on there, and you can look at trends. But yeah, I usually look at pro sports. That's a good way to go, and college sports is really good as well. Those are 2 good places to look, because a lot of them aren't necessarily custom graphics, but they are. You can look at the style and you can see what's trending, what's popular, what's working, what's not. Some schools, they absolutely do fantastic. Some schools, they need improvement, but yeah, college athletics are really good. And then you can also look at you can look at amateur stuff as well, like AAU and stuff, to see like what they like,
Mm.
because the style is a little bit different. Like when you have people with like their top 5 schools or committed or offer graphics, those are a tad bit different from like your pro sports stuff, which are, I would say, just a bit better. I don't know what it is. I don't like the style of like the top 5 schools that you'll see on some sites. Like I don't know what it is. I think it's just way too sharp, or just I don't know,
Mm.
something about it. Just not my personal taste. I don't think it's bad. I just think that it's just not my style. But it's good to know these things, because you'll figure out what you like, what you don't like, and that'll kind of foster your own personal flavor.
Do you got any dream collaborations that you would like to work with somebody?
Uh,
Like I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna say, do you have a dream collaboration where like work with a Pacific person or a Pacific team, in that matter, or school?
team. Oh man, because I come from North Carolina, so I'm always repping NC Sports. I'm a Tar Heel fan, and that would be amazing. So much history there,
Mm.
especially in the basketball scene. Like, fortunately, we're
Mm.
struggling at the moment, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That that would definitely be up there. Like if they shot me a DM and was like, "Hey, we'll commission you for a project," that I would drop everything and just say yes. That would be amazing for team. Um, the Panthers, yeah, sure, that would be cool as well. But UNC is always something. That was always my team growing up. All I watched. Sorry to the Duke fans out there, but nah,
I was
not
about to
feeling
ask
you.
you, Duke or North Carolina?
UNC all the way. Absolutely
Yeah,
no Duke, man.
my boy Mill Jefferson not gonna feel this one right here. My boy Mill not gonna feel it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I gotta put my whole arm in the rim like Vince Carter. Okay, like
Say no more. Say no more. I like that. I like that. What about a player, Pacific player you would want to work with?
on the street ball scene, or like professional, or either.
Both. Give me one of both.
That's a really tough question. Mm, Trying to think. Street ball scene. I mean, I worked with a bunch of them already, to be honest. I'm trying to think right now. I like to work with the. Mm, I like DC Heat a lot at the moment. The YouTuber, he's cool. I like him. I
Okay.
like his videos a lot. I like to hook up at some point with them.
Okay.
Other than that, I mean, the next chapter, I always like them as well. They're doing great things. I think they've elevated
Mm.
the community in entirely different ways. Um, so that'd be cool to work with them at some point. Um, Professional.
Mm.
Mm,
You're thinking long and hard over there.
yeah, I'm trying to think.
Mm.
Gosh. Man, honestly, anyone in the NBA would be cool. Like, gosh, I think I would have to just say anyone like on the in a pro league. NBA obviously is top tier, best league in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think any
Mm-hmm.
pro player at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously like LeBron or something like that, or like Katie or Kyrie, Steph or Luca. If one of those people hit me up for work, it would just be, that's like a dream for an artist, is to have one of those top people appreciate your work as well. As well, it's not only just them liking it, but also it's the platform that can change everything. It's like overnight. Obviously, the effort wasn't overnight, but the project and the attention it gets is overnight. So, like a lot of good people have created concept art. Like there's a really good designer. I forgot his name, but he made Paris Olympics with like LeBron and Steph, and LeBron retweeted it, and then that has opened him up to do UFC, the NBA. Like it's just those things where they appreciate your work and they have the platform to put you on like to another level where you're getting millions and millions of views in the top leagues in the world. They're reaching out to you, which that's what it's all about. But yeah, anyone honestly in the NBA would be like a blessing. I don't think I have one person. I think there's just so many people.
I got you. What's some advice you would give to a young designer who wants to work in sports or just graphic design, period?
For graphic design, just I would say keep learning, keep creating. Don't be afraid to create something and then it turns out bad. Because I've made my fair share of really bad designs where I look back on it now and I'm like, man, that should be thrown right in the garbage. That's so bad. But you can't be good at something without being bad. It's like anything. You're gonna have a steep learning curve, and if you don't even start, you know what I mean. If you're afraid to climb, you're never gonna get to the top of the mountain. So you kind of have to put that aside. You can't have that fear of failure. But that kind of goes with any industry, really. If you
Yeah.
really want to do it, it's easy. It's easy to get interested and have motivation, but when you're not producing the amount of the work that you want to, the quality you want to, then you start to get unmotivated, or you're like, is this for me?
Mm.
But honestly, just keep pushing forward, keep creating. The more you create, the better you're going to become. Honestly,
Mm.
so that'd be my advice for sports. I would say, especially in the freelance world, unless you're working for a team or whatnot, it's all about connections. So the more people you know, the better. That way you have consistent work coming in. So it's all about just who you know, because you don't know if this person, let's say, even though they have 1,000 followers, they may know NBA commission, a manager or something for an NBA team. Like, hey, this guy's really good. Here's his number to reach out to him. So you never know who someone knows. So connections are absolutely everything. Network as best
Definitely.
as you can, even if it's not for like work necessarily, like you're not being commissioned for a project. It's like just reach out to someone, say, hey, I enjoy your work, or how do you do this or do that. Like you
Mm.
know don't ever feel afraid to make a connection. Put yourself out there, because the more you do that, the more people know about you as well. Like no one's going to know you if you don't talk to anyone. So yeah, make connections as much as you can, seriously. But that goes for any industry, honestly. So
Speaking on that, because the industry is evolving. Um,
mhm.
where do you see basketball graphics design evolving in the next like 5 years?
I would say if you look in the space, I really like manipulation and custom graphics. So you see a lot of templates now, and designs becoming very minimalistic, which you can see in a lot of facets of the world. So like architecture is not as ornate as it once was. I think
Mm.
that goes straight into graphic design as well. You see a lot of minimalism, which is a clean, sleek look. So if you're doing like social media work, it's fantastic because you can kind of throw things in. It's not
Mm.
overcomplicated. It's easy to digest, but I see it just being become too. It's not becoming enough. It's like I
Mm.
want things to be custom. I want things to take time. I want them to have that ornateness. I want them to have detail.
Mm.
Intricacy. It's like I really want that, and I think it's
Mm.
getting towards being a bit too minimalistic, which
Mm.
is very unfortunate. But there's still people out there that are doing amazing work. It's just I know that a lot of people want fast turnaround times, especially teams with whatever, maybe like a post or something like that. That's fine, but also I think they should put more work into creating custom graphics where it inspires someone. I feel like I never look at a template, even ones I create. Like I know the use of them, like the purpose is supposed to be fast turnaround time for them to get
Mm.
up on the pages, but
Mm.
I never feel inspired by one. I don't go in and like, oh, I want to go create something now. It's like, nah, like I look at a movie poster, or I look at a custom graphic for a player that creates like a scene, a story. It's like that makes me want to create something. So I think we
Mm.
need to, not that the templates are bad or whatever. It's just I think we should lean more into putting as much detail as you can into a graphic rather than just getting something out fast, which is I think
Mm.
that's where things are going the wrong way. But it's not like we can't create something with that amount of detail. I think we just need to put more focus on it, because that's where you get you know, art essentially, rather than just kind of, oh, here's a post. It's like now I want to look at something and go, no, I want to go make something now.
Yeah. Now speaking on like on that, excuse me. Now, does graphic design get more difficult now with the AI tool being involved now? How do you see it like affecting the future? Is it a good thing? How do you do it like as a positive? Do you like as a negative, a challenge? How do you look at that as a whole?
I would say it definitely has changed the landscape a bit. So if you haven't noticed, if you didn't notice, the NFL used an AI graphic for the post Super Bowl. So they had Saquon picking up Saquon, and it was like the hands were missing, and I was like, y'all got to do better than that. You are a premier sports league, and you're using AI. You have the money, the resources to hire any person on the planet. You could hire the best designer in the world, but you chose to use AI. Man, y'all got to do better than that. And it's like it wasn't even good. The hands were just completely like, to say the least, it pissed me off because, like, man, you have all these talented people working for these teams in the league. You could have done better than that. That's where I see it harming designers, is they're not getting the opportunity. So you're using AI, you're throwing in a couple PNGs of players, and then kind of just creating something fast. Back to what I was saying before, fast does not mean good. It just doesn't. Like, those are not synonyms. And I think that's where the struggle comes in is well, they want AI to create a high quality graphic in a short amount of time. Everyone wants that. Like, if I could create a graphic in 30 minutes and it be the best graphic in the world, fantastic. Efficiency is beauty. But at the end of the day, AI is not at that level just yet. So I'm not entirely scared, but it is getting better and better and better. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just, we give it as much power as we give it. So I think if the league just put it to the side and used it as like maybe an inspiration resource rather than their main resource for design, I think that's where we should be heading. We should use it as a resource, not for creation. So what really gets me going is, like, people will create Instagram pages or social media profiles, and I'm like, okay, I'm an artist, but I use AI, and I'm like, nah, you a prompt writer, like, you're not. You're not at all. And, like, don't get me wrong, you can be great at coming up with ideas, but what separates an ideas person from an artist is the execution. You don't have the skills to execute your idea. That's the reason why I got a job in the first place, because someone goes, oh, I don't have the skills in Photoshop, can you make this for me? So if if you're an artist, then, man, that's just fake. Like, you're posing as something else. But I use it for inspiration, though. Sometimes I use it for inspiration. We're like, oh, create me a landscape. I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. Let me incorporate this. But I won't use AI images in my art or my work at all. I'll use whatever different resources or photographs, but I won't use AI in my art. But I use it just because it may give me a different angle on something, because usually we have just a certain way of thinking as an individual, but it's always nice to have a different perspective. So I think that's where we should use it. But don't put me out of a job. That's something.
Please.
Yeah. But also, AI doesn't have a human touch to it. Like, if you look at AI images, they look very fake, which is, it's all right. It's an artistic type of thing, but I don't see me getting put out of a job, because usually they create generic images, but a lot of people are like, oh, I want my face in the graphic, of course, because it makes sense. I just don't see that being a thing just yet for AI, but you never know. It's becoming more powerful. I think we should just limit its purpose.
No, I agree. I know the world's evolving, but what's that? iRobot? I watched that movie, so I'm a little still skeptical of all that stuff all the time. So
yeah, I think things they should have that human touch to them, because that's how we resonate with something. It's like, if you see something just plain and you're like, AI image is like, there's no emotion behind that. There's no a person that sit down and create this. Like, yeah, I think we need that in the world as well.
Speaking of that, listen, speaking of that emotion, right? What's some of your most memorable responses that you have received from the work that you showed? I know you some overseas, and you got some, it's through word, it may be through words, it may be through, how way you guys can communicate? What's some of the most memorable responses that you can
Um,
remember?
I always like hearing, not any person specific, but I always like hearing, oh, I got more followers because of this post. Or everyone's hit me up saying I like this. That makes me feel good.
Mhm.
Like I don't even need it directed towards me personally. Like I'm not gonna ask them like, oh, send them the compliment. But I like hearing that, helping them grow as well. That's the best thing that you can hear as an artist. Is like, not only am I creating something cool and I like to look at it, but it's also helping you grow your business as well and making you look good and stand out.
Mhm.
That is the cherry on top. That's like the best thing
Mhm.
that someone can say to you is not only, oh, I like your work, but also it's helping my business. And that's the
Mhm.
best thing is, well, like I said before, to reiterate, that symbiotic relationship. I'm getting paid for my work, which is fantastic. And it's also helping your business grow at the same time. It's like, there you go. And
Mhm.
also I see it as a return on investment. You invested money in me to create you good work, and then you're getting repaid from the engagement with that post, and it's helping
Yeah.
you grow. You get more views. That's the best thing. It's always nice to look through the comments because, not you should take everything by heart. You should always take it with a pinch of salt because some people in the comments hating, they look bummy. So you people like to hate.
Facts.
Um,
Facts.
but it's always nice to see someone like, I like your artwork. You did really really good. Not to say there's you should keep yourself humble and always look ways to grow, but it is nice
Mhm.
to see someone dig your work a lot. That is always keeps you motivated.
Mhm. You
But
know, I like. Listen, I definitely like the insight that you've been given. Got like a few more questions before we wrap up.
yeah.
Um, what about say? Well, you already kind of answered this one. You said 1,000 point, the 1,000 point when you're getting ready to release on Saturday. But is there another project that that you've done or that you would love to do? Like
Mm.
going in the future. It's like how you said you put your all into that 1,000. Now it's like you on a different wavelength. Is it something that you want to try? Something that you have wanted to try that you haven't tried yet?
Um. Let me think. At the moment, I can't think
Mm-hmm.
of anything specifically because there's unlimited ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the bigger things is get into more personal projects because I think that's where you can flourish. Is I'm not like, don't get me wrong, like I love working with clients and stuff like that, but also I'm making something for them. I think that's where we don't always see eye to eye on like an artistic approach, which is fine, of course, because I'm creating something for them. Fantastic. I want to create your vision for you, and if I can do that,
Mm-hmm.
lovely. But I think I want to focus a lot more on personal projects this year because that way I can just kind of do what I want, what feels natural, and I don't have any, I don't have to communicate back and forth. So it's not like I may lose an idea or I may lose motivation at a stage in creating something. I think
Mm-hmm.
just more concept art. So I'm looking at just posting more, whatever it may be, like just random graphics online. But I think that's the main thing at the moment. Not like a specific project in mind, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think just more personal projects would be fun. Kind of just doing as I see fit.
Okay. Do you have a difference in design from designing from, for people here in the States and people overseas?
Uh, Not really. I feel like everyone's kind of has their own thing going. So I really enjoy the photo manipulation part. So I like as much detail as possible, and some people are fabulous at it. So there's a big soccer account called 433. They do a lot of manipulation stuff, and I really like that because it's not necessarily like the fastest to create, but it always looks good, and they always put like, I don't know who their artists are, but they're fantastic. Um, if you look at that page, I don't even know what it's called. It's more just like creating. It's like scene creating or something. I don't even know what the design term is for it, but
Mm-hmm.
they create more scenes rather than kind of just like simplistic stuff. I really
Okay.
enjoy that. Yeah, I really enjoy that. I don't even know what it's called, to be honest. Sorry, that's probably a terrible answer.
That's
But
all good.
yeah, I like photo manipulation a lot, and they use a lot of light. So
Mhm.
light and shadows can elevate your game to another level, because not only does it make it more realistic, but it makes it more dramatic. It brings more feeling to it, stuff like that. Those are things that it seems like a lot of Europeans do, and they are fantastic as well. But there's a lot of good American designers as well, so don't want to seem like I'm not giving them love as well. But they seem to be a bit more simplistic, which is fine, the American
Mhm.
designers. But um, my personal flavor is I want to just have like a crazy amount of detail. I think that's just what I like.
Okay. What's like some advice you would give to your younger self? That's one of the questions I kind of always ask on the pod, wrapping it out. What's something that you would give to your younger self, knowing everything that you know now? What's something that you would give to your younger self?
Hmm. I wouldn't say to change anything. I wouldn't like give myself like, oh, this is what's gonna happen. It's mainly just like keep doing you, keep pushing through. Like you'll find your way. You'll
Mhm.
make that path for yourself, even when it looks like it isn't. Because I've thought about quitting freelance work before, where it's like, man, it's way too chaotic. I don't know what I'm doing. The bank account's hurting. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think just
Mhm.
stay focused. Even when things don't look like they're going your way, just keep going. That's about it. I know
Mhm.
that's very cliche, but um, yeah.
No, it's all good. Listen, I appreciate your time. I don't know the time difference, how it is over there where you at right now. I know over here is 1:26 p.m. Um, what
Well,
time is it
I'm
over
at
there?
about 6:30 p.m. So
Oh,
5 hours
not
difference. Not
yeah,
too
not
late.
too bad, not too bad, not too bad. We got it done. But like I say, I appreciate you tapping in, letting the people know about this, giving them insight. If you can stay online, I will. We can talk after I close this out real fast. All right,
Yeah.
all right. Yo, that's another episode. Appreciate all the loyal listeners tapping in. Like, follow, subscribe, everything on I'm sorry, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify. It's one of them days I ain't getting no sleep yet. Follow us on Instagram. We are now on TikTok, Red Close Podcast on everything. I'm your host, Rashawn Bellinger, aka Rob Boogie 215. Thank y'all for listening. Tune in for more. Like, subscribe. Please subscribe to that YouTube. Subscribe. Thanks, y'all. Till we meet again. We out.